Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and it's time for a positive spin. Today is going to be a different kind of positive spin. See, here's the thing. Joe and I have been watching a lot of the Godzilla movies, which I've seen ever since I was a little kid, but I'll get into that in a little bit. And with this being one of the lowest rated, if not the lowest rated, we decided that this would make a good positive spin. Kind of at a last minute sort of decision. So I didn't take any notes. I know this movie well enough. I'm not good with names or dates, although I do think this came out in 1969. And I actually watched this a lot when it came on television when I was a little kid because all monsters attack. Now, my relationship with this film is, as I just stated, I watched this a ton when I was a little kid. So I was wondering, because it had been quite some time, I was wondering if it would have the same effect on me as it did when I was young when I'm older. And we're going to talk about something that Joe and I have been talking about a little bit lately that kind of lends itself to the positive spin. So let's put a positive spin on All Monsters Attack. So Joe and I watched this, of course, and it had been a long time since I've seen it. I'm a collector. I'm not a collector on the grand scale where I have to purchase everything that's like $400 or $500. I don't have to have the best of everything. I tend to pick up stuff that I find around thrift stores, flea markets. If I go to a used DVD or Blu-ray store, which those are becoming more and more scarce. But maybe I'm a junk collector. Who knows? So as Joe and I was talking about this, I told him, I said, I probably have more copies of this movie than any of the other Godzilla movies. But that's my own mistake because I get names mixed up all the time because I'm old. So basically, I was thinking of Destroy All Monsters, which I have a lot of copies of that. I don't actually have any other copies of this one, which is why you're seeing the Criterion Godzilla book that came with all the Blu-rays and stuff, because that's the only way I have this film, surprisingly enough. It might be on a multi-pack here or there, although I looked through quite a few of them and I doubt it. So as I said, when Joe and I were watching this, we did not plan on doing this for a positive spin, even though this has the lowest rating of any Godzilla film. I'm pretty sure. I did do research, but I thought that there was one more, but I don't think so because Megalon is like a 4.8. I think this has like a 3 point something or a 2 point something. So I did not take any notes, but I also know this movie well enough, besides names and dates and all that kind of stuff and directors, that I can pretty much do a positive spin about it and tell you what I liked about it. And this is kind of what's going to lend itself to this positive spin. After we watched this movie, Joe and I, we had a discussion about, it wasn't very long, but still a discussion about how we feel about movies now and how we felt about them when we were a kid. And I noticed that a lot of people rag on this movie because this is the time when the Godzilla franchise went family friendly. And because that's the era I grew up in, some of those are my favorite films. Hint, hint. We'll be doing a ranking at some point. But, as I said before, I did not know what effect this movie would have on me now. And let me tell you something. I absolutely love this movie. I think it's fantastic. Is it cheesy? Yes. Is it probably not the best Godzilla movie? Without a doubt. Well, let me tell you something. When we eventually do our ranking, this is not going to be in last place like it is with most people. For the simple fact that I still have a childlike wonder of film. Now, as you guys have said before in the past, oh, those guys love everything. And yeah, Joe and I do like a lot of movies. There are some that we don't like, and we even do positive spins of them, even though we don't particularly care for the film. However, this is not one of them. This is a movie that affected me just as much in my adulthood as it did when I was a kid. I'm not going to get into the plot. I'm just going to tell you what I liked about the film. Now, this being earlier in the Godzilla franchise, before Megalon, before Hedorah, before Biollante, before even Mechagodzilla, I'm pretty sure. So the amount of monsters was limited. But when I was a kid, I saw that title, All Monsters Attack, and I was all in. So we get a ton of monster fights in this one, which is a lot of fun. But without spoiling anything, I am going to give a little bit of context. This is told through a boy's dreams, which is the best thing ever. Why? Because you can do whatever you want to the Godzilla franchise. You can even kill off Godzilla, and it doesn't matter because it was all in a boy's dream. And I think that's an easy way to make a film. Call it lazy writing. I don't agree. I agree that they wanted to just have fun, make a movie that would appeal to families, and not have to worry about consequences or having to bring this one back or rewrites or anything else. So I think in a way it's very smart. I know people are going to say it's lazy, but that's your opinion. This is mine. Another thing I like about the film is when they went a little bit more family friendly, they started doing these lessons, like the boy's learning how to take up for himself because he's always getting bullied. He's kind of small, and he is Godzilla's son, and I can't remember his name. I always say it wrong. Millie, whatever. So he is teaching Godzilla's teaching his son how to kind of be a big Godzilla. So the little boy is taking in what Godzilla is teaching his son. And through these dreams, he learns how to stand up for himself, be more assertive, and to kind of assess situations. And I think that's important. And I mean, I know it's family friendly, and a lot of family friendly movies do that. They try to shove some kind of agenda down your throat, but that's not the case with this. This is just problems that all kids have when they're growing up, or at least most. And it's teaching you a constructive way how to deal with your problems. And I love that about this film. Both Joe and I said it. We still have that childlike wonder of film. I still, when I watched Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, I came out of that film like a little kid. When I watched Star Wars: The Force Awakens, I came out of that feeling like I was the same 6-year old kid that saw A New Hope for the first time and was just completely blown away. And it seemed like possibilities were endless. So when you're watching All Monsters Attack next time, granted it may not be one of your favorites, but try to keep in mind some of the things that I've said and maybe give it another try. Or don't. But do check out Joe's positive spin for All Monsters Attack. Remember, guys, physical media matters. And until next time, peace.